Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Elevated Business. In this episode, we have Kent Boehm in the studio with us. Today we're talking about the importance of just keep going and setting your own terms. There's a lot of really great nuggets in this episode, so let's get into it. Welcome to Elevated Business, where I'm your host, Mitch Hardington. Join me on a captivating journey as we unravel the real stories of entrepreneurs. Mastering the art of business, because success is not just about the destination, but the remarkable journey it takes to get there. Oh man, here we are, Kent. I'm back, you're back. We're all back. Everybody's back for episode 2 of this. Last time we talked about overcoming your subconscious beliefs in order to find success, become more successful, start your success journey. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, I definitely recommend you go back and do that. We're gonna build on that with our second episode, and we're gonna be talking about hardships, talking about things that entrepreneurs run into that are hard and why we should overcome them. So Kent, I wanna go back on a little bit more of a personal note before we get into how we help more entrepreneurs. But let's go back into your story. What's the hardest thing that you had to overcome in your entrepreneurial journey?
The hardest one, 6-7 years ago, my wife was in a car accident. Our youngest son would have been 5 or 6. My wife has always worked part-time in the business, and I'd spent the previous 2 years learning and researching, trying to find some alternative products and services to take to the market, realizing that 2015, 2016, in the world of coaching and business support, I felt a change coming and kind of looking at that 10-year business plan, kind of what's next. So we're looking for alternative products, different services, wanting to help more entrepreneurs than just your typical 20 one-to-one clients that a coach would work with on a given day. So I was doing and we were launching a bunch of new things. My wife was involved in a car accident, wiped her out. Major concussion, didn't drive for a year. We still had 3 kids at home, and took her out of the business completely. And so, there was that, having a 6-year-old at home, 7-year-old home, a 10-year-old at home. Cassidy would have been 14, 15, just in that stage of where you need all hands on deck to kind of keep the family together. Consciously, subconsciously, not sure what decision was made, but it was, had to find ways to probably scale the business back, find ways to do less, try and maintain the revenue stream without the whole thing falling apart, because the family needed me. My wife needed me in different ways, and so that's not a typical hardship when I think about people. My wife went through a hardship, right? Her life got parked for 5 years. So I think everybody has different hardships along the way on a scale of 1 to 9. I'm not sure where mine was. And that was mine. The hard part was finding a way to maintain the business and quote unquote keep it alive, and so just understanding that we weren't done. We just had to slow things down a little bit and stay focused on the big picture, because it was going to come back one day. We just didn't know when.
I think that's more relevant than you think it is, because a lot of entrepreneurs, our business is life and family is life and business. It's not like a normal Monday to Friday 9 to 5 where you go to work, you come home and you shut it off. Like, there's an intertwining that happens, right? So if your family is suffering, then ultimately you have less to give to business, which means business slows down. But something you said right there at the very end of, it's okay to slow down, just knowing that it's going to come back and you have to readjust your focus, I think is something that every entrepreneur, if they haven't already dealt with that, can rest easy knowing, okay, well, if that happens, it doesn't mean I'm failing. It just means I have to readjust my priorities for now.
Thank you. No, I think that's a good observation, and thank you for the perspective. Yeah, it is. I think you're right. As entrepreneurs, eat, sleep, breathe, live it. It's intertwined with everything we do. And so, yeah, there's many times probably in that journey, it would have been nice to be able to go office job, go home at 4:30, 5 o'clock, ride the bus, ride the C train, not think about all those other things that weren't happening, and to have a benefits package or, other days off that, taking a day off, the paycheck was still there, for sure would have been nice. Yeah, it's a good perspective, because as entrepreneurs, as professionals, as people trying to do things more than we did yesterday, things are going to get in our way, and we don't always know what they are going to be.
I think that's one of my favorite things about entrepreneurship is every day is literally a different day. You go to bed being like, man, I think that was the best day ever. And then you wake up and you're like, that is not how I went to bed.
Right?
And then vice versa. You go to bed thinking, oh, I'm glad yesterday's over. And you wake up and you go, how did everything work out? Like, I'm so confused. Yep. But it's, again, going back to episode 1, it's the journey. It's loving where you are in the moment and constantly wanting to improve yourself.
1000%.
Yeah. So the second piece to my question is, why did you choose to keep going?
The really bizarre answer is I wanted to make sure that if my kids were 40-something years old and were going through some shit, that they could come to me and go, what would you do in this situation? And I could share a story with them as to what choices I made and why. And so part of it was the role model I wanted to be. Part of it was the promises I made to my kids and my family. And there was still that dream board we talked about in episode 1 as to what we're building and what we're trying to do. And fully understanding that once you've read, I don't know, 400, 500, 600 books on personal development and leadership and blah, 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 there's people out there who've been through worse, who've turned it around. And so understanding that in every down or crappy point in life, it's up to us to decide what we make of it, and fully embracing those stories to kind of go, we might be down, but we're not out. And I think just truly understanding the capacity of the human mind and the human body. One of my favorite books goes back to Viktor Frankl, and he was in a concentration camp. He wrote some of the best books out there. I can't remember the title offhand. We'll have to insert it later. Yeah. The book is out, the first book I read on just really mental toughness and what it takes to have the fortitude to go through a concentration camp, survive it, and then live the best life. So I think a lot of my learning along the way just sort of said, as human beings, we can get through this. Mm-hmm. We just have to keep walking.
It's so true. And I've lived that experience. As you know, kind of with my story, when I was diagnosed with PTSD and was told that my life is going to look completely different, I woke up one morning and I made the conscious decision to say no. I was like, no, this isn't going to be my life. I'm going to do greater things. I'm going to actually start, scale, and grow a business. I'm not going to be this label that society put on me, because I believe that I'm destined for greater and that I can achieve it. So,
good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's huge, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people out there, we get stuck thinking that I am what society says that I am. Or I'm stuck with the label that my mom and dad gave me, or I'm stuck with the label my boss gave me. And I would say that's unequivocally untrue. What would you say to that?
Oh, it's 100% untrue. If I believed everything somebody said about me, one of two things would be true. I'd be an absolute gazillionaire, and we wouldn't be having this conversation where we're having it. It would be someplace way more amazing. Or we would never be having this conversation because I would have quit a long time ago. And I think if you talk to any successful person, whether you're an entrepreneur, professional, whatever, we as human beings, and that's what I love about the human beings, is we get to decide what we want to be and what success looks like for us. We get to choose it, not somebody else.
Yeah, I love that. We get to choose, because we're ultimately in control of our life.
100%.
No one else is.
Oh.
It's one of my mentors a while ago was telling me that you are a total sum of the choices, the thoughts, and the behaviors that you have made in the past. And at first I didn't want to believe that. I was like, no, that's absolutely not true. Like, these horrible things happen. I was in a toxic work environment. And then you really start to, when you are honest with yourself and you start looking at it, you start going, oh yeah, I totally did those things. And I saw how that choice actually rippled to this years later. So let's put our business coaching hat back on.
Sure.
Let's, again, let's give the audience 3 things. What are 3 things that if somebody was running into hardships right now with their business, running into hardships with their personal development, what would be kind of 3 golden nuggets that you would give them to help them get through?
1, check back in with the dream board, that big vision of what they're trying to build, and make sure they revisit that every day and make sure that's aligned with who they're and what they're building. That's number 1. 2, ask for help. Whatever that looks like for them, In my situation, I was fortunate I was able to bring in some help into my family for a year to support my family that way. I was able to expand my office and had employees. Sometimes it's just having a mom, a dad, an aunt, an uncle, a friend to call and talk to. And sometimes it's maybe another professional, a priest, a minister, somebody to kind of reach out to. And I think our greatest enemy, we talked about it before, either this episode or the one before, our mind is probably our greatest tool, but it's also our greatest weapon. The thoughts that we get stuck with internally can grow and fester in ways unbelievable. So getting stuck in our own thoughts is not helpful. And then thirdly, keep moving in a forward direction. And if you need to simplify it literally from day to day or hour to hour or half day to half day, simplify it and simply just keep moving one day at a time and believe that it too will pass.
I'd love to get your thoughts on this. So one of my mentors told me that you create the game of life. So make sure that you make the rules so that you win every day.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't believe that?
I believe it wholeheartedly.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's people
Yes.
laugh at me all the yes is the answer. I only like rules when they're mine. I don't know why that's come to me. I've been playing this game with myself, I think, since I'm 12. I don't know, for me, that's the way it's been. So yes, when other external forces try to say so, it's challenging at times. But no, I think we do, and that's the beauty of it is, if we continue to learn and think different, everything is navigatable. And therefore, we can set our own terms.
Set your own terms.
Yes.
Stop letting people do it for you. Yeah. Cool. Okay, that wraps up our second episode. So if people wanted to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
Quite simple. Website, businesscoachingcalgary.com. Phone, text, 403-690-8363.
Love it. Thanks everybody for being here. On our next episode, we're really gonna dive into mindset and why mindset is so important for your entrepreneurial journey. Until next time, thanks for being here. As we conclude this episode of Elevated Business, I'm Mitch Hardington, reminding you that every challenge is a stepping stone to greatness. Stay tuned for more stories of entrepreneurs who are shaping their destiny. Until next time, elevate your business and dreams.